In this video, we're going to repair and refit our bat army. We're going to make some replacement parts, do a crotch repair, do some paint touch-ups, apply stickers, and then have an army of bats ready to go into battle against G.I. Joe. I think like a lot of Joe collectors, I had a group of bats that were really beat up, missing pieces, chipped paint, missing stickers, broken crotches, and I'd always wanted to fix those up and get them into fighting form, so now was the time to do that. So I kind of looked at the pieces I had, examined them, did some sketches, and got to work on building my own replacement parts. The first step is making sure I had good accurate measurements. I also had some great images off the internet that I kind of used to trace in 3D. And then I got to building the hands. Those are the parts that seem to always be missing, those four kind of hand replacement parts and the backpack. So I modeled all 5 of those different pieces. Then I took the models I made and cut them up in Cheater box. They looked pretty good. I figured I'd print out a couple of sets, and test these out because I didn't know, if the fitment would be good or the scale and everything. But everything worked out pretty good. I wanted to make a few modifications with the size of the holes and the pegs. Those weren't perfect, and usually there is some, some kind of like errors with that because the printing isn't, exactly accurate. But I thought they looked good. Some of the details weren't there that I added. These things are really detailed. Like if you look at them really up close, some of those details, like I don't know how they were modeled. Like if, the person making them just put on like random scrap pieces, but it was fun to model them, and they're expensive to get on eBay, so I didn't want to do that. I thought I'd make my own, and then especially because I had 6 bats I wanted to repair, I wouldn't have to buy 6 sets of all these. With all the parts looking pretty good, I set them up on toothpicks in this paint stand thing I have that it like holds things while I paint them. And I'm using Citadel colors. That's like the Warhammer guys, and they make a really good like metal paint. So I just got out the brush and went about painting each one. Didn't take too long. And then black paint on the backpacks, which was a flat black paint. And, just let them dry. They looked pretty good. I think I had to do a couple coats on the black, just to make sure it was deep enough. And I missed a couple parts. But there I'm actually using army paint for the matte black. Now I was looking over the figures and I realized one of them had a broken crotch. So I wanted to fix that. I've seen different people fix broken crotches on G.I. Joe figures in different ways. Some people will actually like mold their own, piece for that. But I decided to take one of my old beater figures and just use a donor piece. So, grabbed one of these old, I don't know if it's Iceberg or what his name is, but just cut his crotch piece off and then drilled a piece and pinned in the new crotch piece. And that looked really good. You also know then that it's strong enough and that it's almost the exact size. Look at the size of that O-ring. That was the O-ring that was in this bat. It was like huge. And I'm surprised it didn't. That's probably what broke the crotch, that it was like such a strong O-ring. So I replaced that. But here you can see the donor piece in there before I putty it. And it looks good. It's got good mobility and stuff like that in the legs. You always want to make sure it's not binding up or anything like that. And then I'm going to, I use some Tamiya putty just to fill in the gap and to make sure everything like seamed up well. It looks like I hit all the gaps. Looks like got good coverage on that. So it's a little lumpy now. So just sand it, wet sand it down with some like 800 or 1000 grit. And then there you can see it. It looks pretty good. And then just taking some of the matte black paint, but you want it to be shiny. So I put a clear coat on it just so it's got a little bit of shine like the rest of the figure. And then it looked pretty good. Oh, I had a loose neck, so I just shoved a little piece of paper in there when I put the figure back together. And that just gives it enough friction where the head doesn't twist as easily. And the last step was the paint. Look at this poor bastard. I mean, what has he been through? Like someone just took a knife to him or some little kid gave him to his dog. So definitely needed some paint touch-ups. This is before I fixed the crotch on that guy. So the yellow-orange color, you kind of have to mix. I haven't found yet a yellow or orange like straight out of the bottle that works for them, but I use those same kind of Army Builder. What is it called? Army paints. They make good stuff and it's pretty cheap for a starter kit. So just mixed up the yellow, and the silver. I used a combination of that Citadel, but also used the old Sharpie silver, which works really well. The last step was getting stickers for these guys. You can see a few of them are missing stickers, and that just leaves that big obvious hole in their chest. So for $10 or something, I got 20 of these pre-cut stickers. They look great. They're shiny. They're not lenticular, so they don't have that changing view as you change the angle, but they look really great. And so, that was it. Putting on the stickers with then the paint and all the pieces and stuff, they were all brought together, and I was pretty much done with this project. Having finished this repair project, I am blown away. I can't believe how good these guys look. I started out with a group of, the dirty half dozen, these 6 bats that were all beaten up. That one was so sad, the one in the picture that was just looked like, he was fed to a dog. They just looked like, you'd throw them out or just, I don't know, do something with them, piece them out. But, by making the new replacement parts and getting some paint and those replacement stickers and just a little shining up, these guys look ready to go into battle. I mean, Destro's just, sold a few, or Mindbender just put them back together in his lab and, got some parts from Destro, and they're going to go hand these over to Cobra Commander. Thanks for coming by and watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Maybe you learned something from it. Maybe it'll inspire you to pull out some beater Joes and maybe clean them up. I hope we'll see you in the next video. And Yo Joe.